Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is, and what a beautiful day. I am so excited. I'm back to this beautiful place here. I think I'm home. I found home here. This is beautiful. Starlight never wants to leave. So really, come on out. Come on, you, come on. Get out, no more excuses. Make time for this. This is what we got to do, in life. Make time for things that matter. The things that don't matter, don't make any time for those things, because guess why? They don't matter. So the things that matter is loving yourself, respecting yourself, loving other people that are there, that are supporting and loving you, getting out in nature, eating healthy. Those are, taking good care of yourself. That's what you want to make time for. Forget about the news, forget about Netflix. Yeah, forget about all that. Just come on out in nature, and you know what? This is a high of itself. You don't even have to do drugs. You could leave your drugs at home, leave the alcohol at home. This is where I get high, right here, right out in nature. So anyway, I love you so much, and if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman. Plus, you could give this video a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight, and you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your family, your friends. I had a beautiful little caterpillar. Yes, you could share my videos with a caterpillar. And as I was out here, I saw a fat, Starlight, that's not nice to call something fat. It was a fat, beautiful butterfly. So yes, you could share my videos with a fat butterfly. So uh, bumblebee, I mean, a bumblebee. It was a fat bumblebee, very beautiful fat bumblebee. Anyway, besides that and there's a turkey over there.
Oopsie,
Sorry, Starlight doesn't miss much. I just seen his little head up there. So yes, the turkey is out here. I gotta say this really quick. Starlight didn't know this. I had to research that. So the boys are the ones that are the more beautiful turkeys, and the girls are the thinner ones. And that turkey yesterday, when I put a video out, it was doing a turkey ritual, dance. It is mating season out here, and he's just showing his stuff. I mean, so Starlight got to catch that. I never knew they did that. It was such a beautiful, dance. Starlight was kind of getting into this thing, like, yeah, I can understand why those female turkeys would love to go with that male turkey. Yeah, look at what he's doing. He's strutting his shit. So anyway, I love you so much. Besides sharing my videos, you can also check out my playlist, and you could also push the notification bell. Plus, you can follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you all, and I got to say thank you again, all of you, for subscribing to my YouTube channel, for liking my videos, for leaving me a comment, to sharing my videos. And I never know, thank you for leaving comments. I never know what kind of comments I'm going to get, but I do read them all. So anyway, I love you. And today, because a lot of you could get distracted. What are you getting distracted about? You could be getting distracted working too many hours, not having enough hours to come out and meet Starlight. Some of you are distracted by going to work, and having kids, taking them to what sport is it now, what game are they going to, where you're distracted by, doesn't the school kind of fill up your week, with all the sports events and stuff like that, where you don't even have time to spend with the family because you're too busy. By the time you get home, you got to get everything all, situated in your truck, car, and then you got to go right back out, bring the kids to what sporting event. So hey, it's good to get kids out in sports, but you got to really be careful with all that, is that you really don't want to have, where your time is being so pulled away where you don't even have time as a family to spend together because of everybody working so hard and having babysitters. And, hopefully it's not just to work, eat, and sleep, you know, hopefully. On the weekends, yeah, then the school, there you are, like, where are they going now? Oh, now they're going here. Oh, when do they have time with you? So, anyway, is really make some time with your family. And anyway, that was just a freebie, is to make time to spend with your family or even yourself. Get out in nature. And today's video, that was just a freebie stuff. Today's video is human versus the robots. Now, some of you, I don't know what your lifestyle is, and I don't know what you get into. And, I have to say, I've known this a long time ago, and, and I got people out there, that I do know that, you know, I thought I was crazy, but no, I'm waking up. So, a lot of movies that they put out, not just movies, cartoons. Yeah, there's cartoons. Some people get offended by some of the cartoons, but they could have a lot of interesting facts in those cartoons that, it's those kind of cartoons where the kids will laugh, they think it's silly, but they don't really get the message. And then the adults, they try to find cartoons that the adults can watch with their children, where the children are not really going to understand the adult stuff, but these cartoons will have a lot of bits and pieces of things that are really happening, the truth in life. And same with movies. There's movies a long time ago like RoboCop. There's lots and lots of movies out there that are actually preparing you for the real deal, things that are going to come. And they have this, way ahead of time. I've watched movies a long time ago in the 70s that they were warning people about things to come, you know, during this time right now, and so it's already happening. People are already doing it, like the mark of the beast, taking, getting an injection. They have like a special gun that they inject this little thing that's the size, I don't have a piece of grain of rice with me right now, but it's the size of a piece of grain of rice. And yeah, it's got all your information, and they just insert it. And, I'll tell you what, you do that, take your freedom away, take your rights away, take your privacy away. That's what that's going to do. You'll be tracked 24/7, and you never know what else is in those things. But, so they had movies about warning people about those. And like I'm saying, is that there's a lot of movies that do warn us about things to come. And so you got to really be prepared and ask yourself, um, what are you being so distracted that you can't pay attention to what is really going on? In the news, you got to really be careful with the news, because there's a lot in the news that is lies, or the way they word things, so you got to be really wise and sharp. And Starlight does not watch the news, because it's too depressing for me, and it keeps you at a low frequency, a low vibration, and they put a lot of horrible stuff out there. They might have good little bit of this and that could be possible good stuff out there on the news, but you really got to really stop being so distracted that you're not focused on the things that are happening right in front of you. And that's exactly what they do. And talk about being distracted. I learned this as being a single mom with my kids. How do you think I got my kids to obey me a lot? You know, they could have been having an attitude, like I said with a story with my son when he was younger, that he was having a little tantrum. He was at that age, going through stuff. And I am not, I love my son, I love my daughter, and it's just a normal thing that parents do go through. And how did I get him out of that tantrum that he was having? Is I distracted him. I distracted him. You know, did I beat him? No, I distracted him. I got him to forget why he was even crying in the first place. He just was laughing at his mother. Mother was acting so goofy, singing songs with his name on it, in it, so he just was listening to the words. He understood the words. He was old enough, like, I believe he's just starting school. So 4 or 5 years old, here he is, like, you wanting to get his own way. And I wasn't having it. I'm not going to let you have your own way, you know? So, and that is what I did with my son, and it worked, and that's what they do with us, is they distract you, and this is the thing. You get so busy, like if you're a family and you got kids, a lot of people, and I understand this because this is what I thought a long time ago too, is a lot of people, they're so afraid that their kids are going to go out and get into trouble. So they're like, oh, we got to keep them busy. So, and this is how the school system kind of, jumps in on this, or even churches. There's different things out there. You got to really be careful that you're not so distracted that you're not focused on the shit that's happening now. You might hear bits and rumors of different things going on out in the community, because that easily can happen. You can go for a cup of coffee and hear somebody talking about shit on the news. That was happening during COVID. I didn't really have to watch any news on COVID. I heard it everywhere I was going. People would, like, if they saw me and they knew me, oh yeah, this is what they're saying now, or my family would tell me, or somebody would tell me, so I didn't even have to watch the news, because guarantee, if there was a storm coming, somebody's going to tell me that there's a storm coming. So you really got to be careful that you're not getting so distracted, like I said, with your family, is with the school system, is, I understand by keeping your kids busy, but busy doing what? Yes, that is so important. What are your kids being busy doing? Especially when they get older, and they, no matter what, you've got to keep them busy. So you always want to get them doing stuff that's going to help them, and sports is a great thing, but be careful, because the school system, they're just trying to, it's a program. And to me, when it comes to the sports, it's they want to use your kids to say, hey, look at our school. It's all about them. It really, a lot of times, it's not about your kids, because later on, like if your child goes to school and he loves football, or, his dad gets him into football, whether he wants to go in football or not, because this is what a lot of parents do, is that a dad might have loved football, grew up watching football, you know, 50 years old, still watching football, and he never did anything about being a football player. So now he's got to, like, and then him and his wife, they, like, he gets her pregnant. She finds out she's gonna have a baby, and then he finds out it's a boy, and like, so he's so excited, because it's like, this is my time. This is my time, to get, you know, I didn't do anything with my life about being a football player, but now I can actually get my son to be a football player, and maybe my son will be a famous football player later on, and it will be dad, and the school will be like, yeah, that football player went to what school? Oh, he went to that school. So you got to really watch out for why they want your kids in so much sports, and it has a lot to do with Hollywood, like all these, people that really made it big, as far as sports goes. So you really got to be careful. It's great you still can do sports with your kids, but it doesn't mean that you actually have to go and, be with the school system. What if your child doesn't, like, want to do those things, but, you're encouraging them to do it, maybe you want them to do those things. Let them really find out, what they want to do for that is in this life. So don't be so distracted that you don't realize that things are happening around you in your life with the robots, like I just put a video out not too long ago, and I kind of threw it into a video about the self-driving cars, and going to a store. Starlight does not like going through a cash out register, where I cash myself. I get upset, I really do, is when I go to the store and the only way I can purchase my food or whatever I buy is that I gotta self, like do it myself. Starlight, you're lazy. No, it's not. I'm lazy. We don't want the robots taken over. You get me? When they take over, there goes all those people that lose their jobs, at Walmart. That could be something that they're really good at and that they really need and they feel comfortable in, and they're learning about, customer service, they're learning about money, and all that. We do need those people. So, and this is the thing, there's a lot of other stores that they have, where you can actually have a human being, you can go through there, through the line and cash out your food that way. So they actually try to keep everybody happy. Well, we'll have, for the people that don't like the self-service, we'll have humans over here because they don't want to pay, you know, they save money by having robots or, like computers doing the work that a human being can do. So we need to wake up and we really need to, like really see what's going on and not to get so distracted that we're not paying attention to really the things that are going on with anything out there that is happening for the future, is, don't get so distracted that you're just running here, running there, running there, running there. And it's a nonstop. You just, like Monday, wake up, get the kids ready for school, go to work. Then the babysitter, picks them up because you're getting out of work late. Now the babysitter's bringing them to school, and then you're rushing. You're getting out of work. You're putting the extra hours to make extra money for what? It is so important to really be mindful of what are you doing. Don't follow what everybody else is doing just because your friends have their kids in school and that they're going to these sports games. It doesn't mean that you have to, because it's all about trying to get these kids to be the best, like the best swimmer. And there's nothing wrong about being that. That might be something that they want to be when they get older. But don't let the system pull you in where you're so busy. You never have a time to actually have time alone with yourself. You never have time to actually be with your family without running somewhere else. Oh, I got to run. And this is what they want. They want you to get so distracted that you don't even know what is going on with you don't even care anymore what's going on because you're too busy. Oh, I gotta run here. I gotta run over this way. I gotta go over there and pick up Johnny. I gotta go over there and pick up Sally. Oh, over here. My mom and this and that. You slow down. I'm serious. A lot of people, this is what they're doing, especially people that have families. They have kids, they're, oh, now it's the Boy Scouts. Oh, this, I got to go to church on Sunday. Oh, now, so, okay, Monday through Saturday, right, is all gone. Oh, now you're going to church on Sunday. So you wake up, you go to church, maybe it starts at 9, get out at 12. And the only time you got left is the time from afternoon to clean the house up for the weekend so you can get ready for Monday again. Bam. How do I cleaned for several people, and I was watching them. I would go in there as their kids were their kids were leaving the house as I was showing up. And I had to really push depending on what house. And so I knew a lot of their schedules, what they were doing, where their kids were. And it was a constant, okay, oh yeah, on the weekends, now they got something different. And then even the churches are out there. Hey, so now the kids are going out to, sports, dancing, boys club, girls club, you name it, musical stuff, and then the church. Hey, yeah, here, come and get involved here at the church. And now you're at the church, you're not, you're too busy. You're too way busy, and being too busy is not good. Where and then you wonder why you're so freaking stressed out. You don't even have time to keep your house clean. How does Starlight know that? Because Starlight used to clean houses for people who were too busy running around. They had kids. They were too busy running around from here to there, never having enough time to even stop to even have time to clean their house. They had to hire somebody to come in to clean their house because they didn't have the time to do it. They had to hire somebody to do the yard, hire somebody to do the driveway. They didn't even have time to get the driveway done in the wintertime. Had to have a landscaper come in. They don't even have time to landscape there and enjoy the, Starlight loves landscape, and that was one of my first honest jobs is a landscaping company when I was like 17 years old. That was my first legal job that Starlight started out, with, was a landscaping job, learning how to do landscaping. So it's a lot to enjoy, and yes, it is a lot of hard work. But the beauty of it is that when you get done, you can say, I, I did all this, or we, the family. Get your, that is what your kids get your kids prepared for the real world. Get the, instead of running them and running and running and running, get them involved. You don't have to go out to do all those things. You could save a lot of money if the family worked together and spent more time together as a family, as a whole, like it should be, instead of running around so much where you don't even know that the robots are slowly, taking over. And it's gonna, they've already been doing the phone calls, where, now they don't even have to hire a person to answer the phone. Who likes answering, talking to a robot on the phone? Do you get frustrated? Do you get angry like Starlight and you want to yank all your hair that's on your head off your head because they don't have the phone system correct, where it doesn't give you, you're like, every single thing that they, oh, push number 1 if you want that. No, that's not what I want. Push 2 if you want that. No, that's not what I want. What is it that you want, Starlight? I want to talk to a human being. Can I really just get a human being to talk to on the phone? Because the robot's not doing a good job. They might sound like professionals and they don't have an emotions. So it's kind of really aggravating, when you can't even, you could get all upset at the robot, but they don't give two shits. They don't have any feelings. They're emotionless. They have no clue that you're getting upset with them on the phone, and then they hang up, bye. And you're like, where'd you go? I want a human being. It is creeping in our systems all over, and we need to really wake up and not get so distracted with life, by running around, like, why not have the family work together? Get your kids to figure out what they want to do in their future. Make sure what they're going to do when they get older, when after they graduate, if you even have them to graduate, is you got to really help your kids to learn what kind of job are they going to have without the robots. Forget about, like they had the self-serving, self-driving car. Don't send them out there to think to be a taxi driver. Of course, that's not really a job that you would want to really inspire your kids to go get. Like, have it, to me, starting your own business. You could create something new, something that hasn't been. You can easily do that if you use your imagination. We're here as creators, creating our reality. You could teach your kids or even yourself, and the system is so screwed up. It really is. I want to talk, I got another topic here going on in my head, and I will put that on another video. I'm not even going to mention that one. But really, this system is so screwed up. They really make it so impossible for a person that's single to ever make it, to be able to pay for rent, to be able to pay for the car payments, to be able to pay for food, to be able to pay for the gas and all the bills, the Wi-Fi, and all this other stuff. They make it impossible for single people to ever make it. If they went and got like a 9-to-5 job and, depending on how much they're making an hour. So this is part of waking up. It never made sense to me, and it doesn't make any sense still today. They want to replace you. They want to take your job away, and some of you, boy, I'll tell you what, we better hope that they don't take over on the doctors, you know? Imagine that, a robot, you know, do an operation on you, you know? So, getting your teeth done by a robot, you know, if they, you know, my mentor put a video out where a freaking mind blowing a, a robot breakdancing. You know, it was supposed to be just walk and crawl and do this and that, you know, and before you know it, and they purposely set that all up, you know, to just boom at the end, you know, where this robot just break dances like a ballet dancer just did it, you know, just so smooth and no nothing. I mean, like I've seen a lot of break dancers, but I have never seen, you know, that such a smooth move with a robot. So we got to really snap out of it, and don't let the school system as part of the government. Don't let them get you so distracted that you don't have you not even don't even have enough time to really pay attention to really what's going on. This stuff is so sly and it's so sneaky and it creeps up on you, you know, and you know before you know it, you know, you're not even aware and you don't even care because you're too busy running around from, you know, especially families, you know, and this doesn't just happen to families, you know, that have kids, you know, a husband and a wife or a boyfriend, girlfriend and a kids. This happens to single people that are overworked, you know, because they they've been programmed that in order for you to make it because you're single and you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you don't want to go to the government get a handout, you know, and get help that way, is because you know that that is a, you know, a program, a control system, is that, you know, for single ones out there, that you believe that I have to put all these hours in, Starlight, I'll never be able to, you know, afford all of what I have. But then what do you have? Are you so busy about having material possessions, you know, so you could brag to other people of what you have? And so now you're pushing yourself because you had to get that car. You had to get that car. That car you had to get. Because why? It's to impress your family or your friends or the girl that you know, or girls, you know, especially guys, you know, girls are no better than guys. You know, maybe a girl wants to, you know, have this expensive car, and how much are the payments every month, you know? So you got to really be careful. Don't get so distracted that you don't realize that things are creeping up, you know, and we got to snap out of it. And you got to, you know, really think twice of what are you doing for your kids. You know, really, it's best to really, a family that plays together stays together, you know. So instead of sending your kids, a lot of times, you know why parents send their kids out to sports if they're not, you know, there's parents that do this. They send them out there. Yeah, here, I'll drop my kids off and then let them do the sports because they, you know, it's a free babysitter. Ah, I know. Didn't that hurt? It's a free babysitter. Like the church. Yeah, hey, yeah. Come and pick our kids up. You know, man, they're driving us nuts. That's why people were flipping out during COVID. Holy shit, parents were freaking out. Husbands were freaking out. Wives were freaking out. Mothers were freaking out. Moms and dads were freaking out because of COVID. Ah, the kids can't go to school. They gotta stay home. Parents don't even know what to freaking do. I can't even send my kids off anywhere. You know, this is what they've done. Wake up, wake up, wake up to what is going on. Don't fall for all this stuff. You know, you think that the school cares about you, that they're trying to get you all your kids all sucked in all these sports. Don't be pulled into it and thinking, yeah, that's a. Now, some parents I do know that they actually will dress up in the gear, you know, they dress up in the same uniforms that their kids, and they will actually drive to the school and they will stay there the whole time. I'm not talking about you, you know, on that you're just trying to drop them off, because you're actually there, you're involved, you're actually inspiring them, and hopefully you're not beating them later on because they didn't do as good as you wanted, because I definitely know there's a lot of parents out there that beat the hell out of their kids or yell or abuse them and verbally, you know, because, you know, they want their child to be the best football player. A lot of those football players, you know, I'm not saying, I know that there had to be a lot of football players out there that made it big, that were getting their ass kicked at home, being forced to be those players, being pushed to be the players that they became later on in life. And they could have made it because they had a dad that was kicking ass, and forcing them to be the best that they could be, just like the army or the military people, is, always being pushed to be their best. So anyway, wake up. Stop getting so distracted. Don't fall for that the school cares about your kids so much. They would love to say, hey, look at that great football player. Guess where, he started? He started at our school system. It sounds crazy, but I'll tell you what, that when the football players becomes a star, what school did you go to? Oh yeah, I went to, where was it? So don't get so distracted that you're not paying attention. The the robots versus human. What do you desire? Do you desire to have robots take over? Do you really like, I prefer talking to a human being. I prefer going to the grocery store and having a human being where I can talk to. I haven't taken a taxi in a long time, but I'll tell you what, it was eerie out there in San Francisco where they have the self-driving cars out there, the sound of those vehicles. And you know what I found out? They're actually charging less than an Uber car to get your business because they want to take away the other people out there that are taxi drivers. Because if more people go for the self-driven taxis or robo taxis out there, it's going to take the people that are human beings out of business for a taxi company. And I have rode with taxi companies long time ago when I lived in my apartment, and I prefer to ride and have I had some badass conversations with some beautiful people and some decent taxi companies. It was mainly for medical taxis, but wow, it was freaking on. I was like, wow, they can't do shit. I can sit there, I can say whatever I want in that taxi car and have a conversation up to a certain time until I get dropped off and whoop, bye, see you later. And it was cool. It was, I met a lot of super people that picked me up to bring me to an appointment, when I didn't have a car, so, I would not want to be sitting in like I wouldn't feel safe, riding with one of those self-serving, self-driving cars. So please don't get so distracted and thinking that you're doing your kids a favor by running around, where you might not even want to spend any time, just like with COVID. How is that for you? How much hair did you lose during that time, guys and women? I can't imagine, because that was your escape, right? A lot of people, they want to send their kids to the school because they realize that's a lot of work, right? Isn't it? It's a lot of work being a mom and a dad, where, hey, I'll just let the school watch them. I'll let the church watch my kids, hey, and I'll deal with them when they come back, So I'll tell you, be mindful of, wanting to have children out there, if you're single, it's a lot of freaking work. If you're not willing to do all that work and have a lot of patience, don't bother having children, please. Make sure that you can't have babies, because we don't need more kids out in the world that are going to be neglected or abused out in the world. So be the best that you can be as far as parents go, but please don't get so distracted that you don't see what's going on in this world. I love you so much. This is Starlight. You can give this video a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And don't forget, you could share my videos. Let me see. I got some crows up there flying. Ooh, my butt. No, you're not going to share my videos with my butt. And crickets. I hear some things out here, but it's not a cricket. But you could share my videos with a cricket. Why not? Cribbity chicket. Wait. Cribbity. Wait. Cribbity. Crickety. Jiminy Cricket. There. Jiminy Cricket. So Starlight and her tongue tied. But anyway, I love myself. You gotta laugh at yourself, you know, it is funny. So I love you so much, and enjoy your day, and don't be so distracted. Please. I love you so much. This is Starlight. And you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you all. You know, pay attention. I love you. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.